Hey everyone, and welcome. So every great teacher, and honestly every great learner, you know this feeling, right? You've just delivered what feels like a brilliant lesson, but then a week later, poof, it's just gone. So the big question is, how do you make learning actually stick?
That's the ultimate question in education, isn't it? And you know what? The answer isn't always some flashy new tech or a super complicated theory. Nope. More often than not, it's about the small, consistent, and really powerful actions that can totally transform the learning experience.
Okay, so let's get into some real practical solutions. We're going to dive into this fantastic booklet by Tom Sherrington and David Goodwin called 5 Ways. What they've done is they basically distilled solutions to really common classroom problems into these practical, super visual one-pagers. It's like having a toolkit for turning good lessons into genuinely great ones. All right, first up, let's tackle the biggest hurdle of them all, attention. As Sherrington and Goodwin point out, it's the gateway to all learning. If you don't have their attention, nothing else matters. So how do you get it, and maybe more importantly, how do you keep it when there are 1,000 other things competing for your students' focus?
Now, here's what's so interesting about their approach. The real enemy isn't the student who's actively choosing to be distracted. It's that slow, quiet drift, the drift into passive listening where the information just kind of washes over them without ever really sinking in. But the good news? You can totally manage that drift.
And this slide just nails the shift we need to make. Over on the left, you've got passive listening. That's where a student can just mentally check out. But on the right, that's accountable listening. This is all about creating a culture where every single student expects to be involved, where they expect to summarize, to build on what their friends have said. It turns listening from this passive thing into an active thinking task. It forces the brain to actually process the information, not just hear it.
So how do you actually build that culture? Well, here are 3 really powerful ways. First, use prediction. Just by asking, so what do you think happens next, you create this little narrative hook that makes students lean in. Second, make it personal. Give them ownership over something. And third, question with accountability. When students know they could be called on at any time, their default state just becomes engagement. They're always on. Okay, so you've captured their attention. That is a huge first step. But now comes the next big battle, making sure that what you teach doesn't just evaporate by tomorrow. And that brings us to our second key idea, making knowledge last. This is such a crucial idea. I can't stress it enough. We often think students struggle because a topic is just too hard. But you know what? More often than not, the real villain is just the natural human process of forgetting. So our goal isn't just to teach, it's to build systems that actively fight against forgetting.
And here's your toolkit for that exact fight. Look, these aren't huge, time-consuming activities. They're simple, daily routines. A quick pair shared to go over yesterday's lesson. Mini whiteboards so you can see what everyone in the room knows, not just the one student who always has their hand up. These little, consistent checks. They activate prior knowledge, and they make it stronger every single day.
Now, when you're teaching a new skill, this is the gold standard. The I do, we do, you do. So first, the teacher models the whole process, thinking out loud. Then, you do it together. And what's brilliant about this is that you can rerun that we do phase as many times as you need before students are really ready for that final you do step on their own.
And all that practice, that's what builds fluency. But fluency can feel like this really big, intimidating goal. The secret, though, is that it doesn't happen all at once. It's built, brick by brick, starting with the smallest little components.
And this slide just shows that path so beautifully. You start with the absolute basics, words and phrases, practice through something simple like choral repetition. Then you build those into sentences, using drills that focus on getting it right and getting it fast. And only then can students start connecting those chunks into complex paragraphs. You're building that mental framework from the ground up.
Okay, so we've talked about attention and we've talked about retention, which are, crucial for all learners. But the book makes another vital point. We have to think about the students who might feel left behind. How do we make sure these strategies unlock potential for everyone, not just the confident few?
This quote right here is just so powerful because it points out a hidden danger. A lesson can feel really energetic and successful because a few students are flying, but that buzz and dazzle, as he calls it, can completely mask the reality for those who are struggling just to keep up.
So, here's the crucial point. There's a confidence divide. The confident students, they get more airtime, they get more practice, they get more feedback. Meanwhile, the very students who need that practice the most, they often retreat into silence and they get less and less of it. We have to actively break that cycle.
And here's exactly how we can do that. Notice how all of these strategies are about creating opportunities for safe, successful practice. Explicit rehearsal in pairs gives everyone a voice. Short feedback loops build momentum and show students, hey, I can improve. And scaffolds like sentence starters, they take away the fear of a blank page and help students organize their thoughts. This is all about building confidence through competence.
So as we start to wrap this up, it's really important to emphasize the core philosophy that runs through all of these ideas. This isn't about asking you to revolutionize your classroom overnight. Not at all. Instead, it's all about the power of small changes to create a really big impact.
And this might be the most important takeaway of all. This whole approach is about picking one or two practical, doable ideas and just trying them out. It's the small, consistent changes that lead to the biggest impact over time.
So, if you boil it all down, these ideas rest on 4 foundational pillars. First, consolidate. Go over key ideas again and again until they're solid. Second, rehearse. Give every single student time to practice. Third, scaffold. Give them the support they need to climb. And finally, check. Ask what they've understood, not if they've understood. These are the pillars that support great teaching.
So looking at everything we've covered, from accountable listening to daily reviews to explicit rehearsal, what's the one small strategy you could try in your classroom or, hey, even in your own learning tomorrow? That one single step, it just might be the start of something amazing.